Please welcome Rand Fishkin.
Howdy, everybody. Ooh, I have two clickers. I'm going to use this one. Well, welcome. It's great to see you again. I'm honored after being invited here last year and getting to talk to all of you that I got to come back, have the opportunity to work on my slides. You know, last year got really nice reviews. You guys are so kind. You're such a wonderful audience. So first off, I have the presentation that I'm about to give you online, so you don't need to furiously take notes and copy down things. You can see right here, bit.ly/secret ingredients. Oh, yes, anytime. bit.ly/secret ingredients. However, SlideShare is having a hiccup with the presentation right now, so I'll re-upload it after I get off stage, and hopefully it should work. But you can find it there. You don't need to copy down any of the links. So I want to kick off by talking about some of the obvious ingredients of better marketing, some of the things I'm not going to be discussing, which many of the other presentations and talks at Inbound will be discussing. Those are things you're all familiar with, right? Right data, right tools, channels, tactics, building a product that people actually want and need and will use, commitment to searching for the right approach, even if it's hard, and of course, an amazing team of passionate marketers like the people in this room. So I'm going to do something a little depressing and show some terrible, tragic marketing, the kind of marketing that I hate, that makes me frustrated to be associated with the folks who create it, right? Because I think marketing is a wonderful, lovely, beautiful art and science, and this is not that. That's not true. Ugh. I know if I just took off these Japanese raw denim jeans and put on those, you know, people would be wearing midriffs around me all the time. It'd be great, and I'd have a hot air balloon. The only thing that's inevitable is that Brad Pitt eventually would devolve into this. That's... Oh my God. Right? It just kills me. Do you remember this campaign for Microsoft? When they were telling everyone that if you use the version that we sold you for hundreds of dollars last year, you are a dinosaur. Who insults their own customers? Like, they didn't have any competition at the time, right? This was like 2001. Yes, I know, I've seen the watch ads where the celebrity wears the watch. But I have news for you. Leo, it goes on the wrist. I wish that I could say that the people responsible for this were just these, like, you know, big ad agencies who sell this stuff into their clients and manipulate the world through, you know, interruption marketing. But that's not actually the case. We are guilty of doing this too. Look, do you think 12,054 votes? Susie, payday loans, I'm sure you have great payday loans. But I mean, at least Jess payday loans only got 2 votes, right? Like, they have a conceivable, a possible fake for their reviews that they throw into Google. Yes, everything is always some % off at Just Say Banks. I don't think they actually have regular priced clothing. I think it's just a myth. So this is Neil Patel's site. I love Neil, right? We're friends. We live in Seattle together. This is QuickSprout. It's his site. And, you know, it's not that bad. Like, it doesn't infuriate me that much when I get those pop-ups, right? I get a pop-up that's like, okay, yeah, if I want to read your blog, I got to click the X on this. I'm actually already subscribed to his email newsletter, but the site can't figure that out. And then I click close, and I get another one. I'm gonna kill you, Neil. What, come on, man. He should know better. He really should. This is Tylenol's Facebook page. Oh my God. Right, like, what? Why even bother? Why did they even make one? And then right? Look, it's all lowercase. To all Tylenol's friends, Merry Xmas. They didn't spell Xmas right. They didn't get capitalization right. Tylenol isn't capitalized. Like, who runs this? There's like a troll intern at Tylenol who gets just messing with them. Okay, so this is an email to my wife, to Geraldine, who runs the Everywhereist. It's a travel blog that's very popular. And look, I would like to introduce myself as public relation of 5-star beachfront resort in Bali. Next line, now we are going to build our website link. Well, I don't know if I should applaud the transparency or just, I need like 4 face palms just to try and deal with the amount of weird and myopicness that's in this. Okay, well, here's a law firm writing about Walmart slip and fall lawsuits, and they've got, a blue background and gray gray trimmings on the side and like blue buttons, and here's another one. They're writing about the Walmart slip and fall case, and oh look, another one, also in blue and gray, writing about the Walmart slip, and oh my God. You know what happened? What's so tragic about this is there's some SEO consultant, right? A bunch of SEO consultants who are helping these law firm sites, and they say to them, hey, you guys need content. We want to start a blog. We want to be writing about relevant topics. And so a Walmart slip and fall lawsuit comes out, and they're like, okay, I can write about that. None of the articles are worth reading, unfortunately. I wish I could say that they were. Right, so I'm sure you've seen stats and figures like these before, and they are sad, right? 59% say the reason they don't trust us is because there's too many ads, or outdated information, or self-promotional. Not particularly surprising. And it's not particularly surprising to me that ad visibility and click-through is atrocious either, right? We're bombarded by these things all the time. 99.99% of them are nearly useless. And despite nearly 5.5 trillion display ads served to US users last year, right? That's 1,700 that each web user is seeing every month. Think about that average, because remember, you and I surf the web 10 times more than anyone else, right? That means we have to deal with 17,000 of these. 0.04% click-through rate, and half the clicks on mobile are accidental. That number should be even lower. Do you guys remember the movie Pluto Nash? Oh my God, woo. I have never given this presentation and gotten a woo on Pluto Nash. You know what's crazy? Actually, let me just take can you raise your hand if you have seen this movie? Okay, now keep your hand up if you saw it in theaters opening weekend. There's one person, there should be about 1,000 people in here. That is just about right. You are actually more likely to have seen Pluto Nash on opening weekend than click on a display ad. Holy crap. We're just not paying attention to how people really use the web, right? We optimize for search results like the #1 position is all that matters. And getting to the top of the results, I'm not gonna lie, it's not that it's not important. And yes, the #1 position will generally, on average, earn you more clicks than anything else. But every time one of these studies comes out that shows the percent of click-throughs, every year that they've come out, the standard deviation has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And you know what that means, right? That means that the distribution of our clicks, we're scrolling more, we're clicking less and less on just the first result. We're not limiting ourselves to the first 3, right? We actually surf the web like this. You go to Google, you type in a search, right? I'm looking for display advertising click-through rates, or I'm looking for click-through rates on organic, actually. And okay, well, how do I determine what to click? Yeah, Dave looks trustworthy, but I don't know the site, and that doesn't seem like what I'm looking for. Okay, that one's on Moz. I've read it before. ClickZ is a good site, but I was looking for organic. That looks sketchy. I don't know what that is. Oh, Search Engine Journal, good, but I don't know what. Ooh, Jeff Kenyon. He works at Distilled. I totally know that guy. He's trustworthy as heck. If he has an article on this, that's probably a good one. And in fact, it is the best of these results by a long shot. That's how you search. That's how I search. That is how we search. We don't go, well, 40% of the time I'm going to click on the top result. And then, I've been clicking on the top result a lot lately. I really need to mix it up and click a little lower down. That's not what actually happens. We know that our page abandonment increases with load time, right? Like, the longer it takes, it's kind of incredible, right? Because you think to yourself, well, I was going to buy that thing, but it took 2 seconds to load. I can't wait that long. I'm a busy person. But clearly, we're not making sites that keep up. And in fact, since mobile users abandon even faster, and yet mobile speeds are slower, this is a nightmarish situation that we've put ourselves in. It happens to be the case, right, that our teams lose faith when they see us do this. In fact, tragically, right, as 70% of CEOs, I don't know which CEOs, I love my marketing team. In fact, I think I'm on my marketing team. I think all CEOs should be on their marketing team. It's crazy. So I haven't lost trust in marketing, but we keep putting dollars to these low ROI channels, to these channels where 0.04% of clicks happen. It's insane, right? It's insane, it's madness. And then we go and invest in low quality tech. This is Fiverr. Don't raise your hand if you use Fiverr. Your marketing friends will disown you. But, there's more. I looked just the other day. There's more ratings on Fiverr SEO link building services, like $5 SEO link building services. There are more ratings for that than there are people who watch Whiteboard Friday in an average week. There's like 8,000 of them, and I think we're averaging around 7,500. It's really sad to me, right, that kind of the black hat, gray hat world is still this big, and that people think, oh yes, what Google really wants me to do is to go to Fiverr and buy 50,000 links for $5. That will surely be the thing that the smartest engineers, best paid engineers in the world want from the websites that they're going to rank highly. What's the logic, do you think? I believe we keep doing this because we have all these new tools, but we're still locked into an old way of thinking, right? We're still locked into a display and a sort of blast out the brand message, interrupt people, don't wait for them to come to us, just push it in front of them. And we have all these channels, search and social, we have content, we have email, we have our websites, we have offline, but we don't construct a cohesive narrative. Instead, we have separate people and separate departments owning all these different channels. And the search people at one firm might never talk to the people who run social. They might never talk to the people who run brand. We focus on all these tactics, but we are lacking a strategic vision, a reason behind all of this. And we tragically prioritize, right? This is what got us into the 2008 crash, like short-term acquisitions. Meet my numbers, not build a brand that will create a flywheel to build my numbers over the long term. It's tragic. So what is this recipe? What are these secret ingredients? Well, there's 6 of them, and I want to share the 6 that I've observed in nearly every piece of great marketing. Well, I'll start with transparency. I think great marketing is transparent. So this is Full Contact. And Full Contact is a startup out of Boulder, Colorado. they merge contact data. They'll basically essentially take a bunch of email addresses and connect them to social profiles, or the reverse, or names and connect them to emails and social profiles. It could be seen as a little bit skeevy, right? Because of how they collect this data. They connect to your address book, and then you opt in and share your address book with them, and that data gets aggregated. But they do a great job of coming right out in front of that story, and since the day that they launched, since the first day of the service, they have said, hey, this is how we're doing it, this is what we're doing. You have to opt in, and you have to know what you're opting into. And by the way, if you ever change your mind, you can go to this site and say, I want to opt out. You can own your own contact data from them. So few people do this. So few people actually go to the site and opt out to not have their contact data shared. But it doesn't matter. This is part of their story. This is part of them saying, we are honest, reliable marketers. And that real transparency, it takes the uncomfortable truth, the thing that you really don't want people to know, and just puts it right out there in front. If it's not uncomfortable, you're not being transparent enough. And by the way, when other people are hiding this type of data out of fear, there have been several startups that have done just this and gotten lambasted by the press for doing it. You can earn the trust and recognition of your peers and of the industry by doing it. So I'm obsessed with the 2012 Obama campaign just because the digital marketing tactics are incredible. And I got to hear Kyle Rush, who was one of the digital marketers who did a lot of conversion rate optimization and testing, speak recently. Talked about a lot of fascinating things and some really funny stuff too. But one of the most interesting ones, and I'm going to share one more actually later in the talk, but this was the winning email. Out of all those different email subject headlines that we just saw, can't go back, sorry. Out of all those that we just saw, this one won. And it's called I Will Be Outspent. It's doing exactly what full contact does, taking an uncomfortable truth that you kind of don't want to share, right? If I'm in the Obama campaign, I want to believe, I want to say that I am going to raise more money, right? Because more people support me. Not the case, right? Romney raised a little bit more money. I think it was several $1 million worth of more money, which is not actually all that much in the scope of things. But this was their winning one by almost 30%. I think the next closest one was like 1.8 million in terms of revenue generated. That honesty surprises your audience. And in fact, for email open rates and subject lines, I think this transparency angle works brilliantly, absolutely brilliantly. And if you are willing to let the data speak, not someone's opinion, right? If you're willing to test 50 different email open subject lines and see which open rate actually wins, you're going to have a much better time than if someone, the highest paid person in the room, decides which email we're going to go with. This is Huffington Post spoilers. Anyone follow the HuffPost spoilers account? It's hilarious, right? So, you know, the Huffington Post tweets link-baity, clickbaity headlines. You'll never guess the average American's bedtime was what the Huffington Post tweeted. And so, of course, HuffPost spoilers tweets 11:39 p.m. Nice, well done. Huffington Post tweets, as if you needed another reason to quit soda. May raise risk of kidney stones. It's great. I don't even have to read that site at all. I can just follow them and I get all the data, like everything that's actually going on. It's incredible to me that the Huffington Post is writing articles that are this long and they have room not only to retweet, but then to fit in their like 4 words of what actually is happening. It's just great. When you can be transparent on behalf of other people who are obscuring information, you can get a great following. This is Folio. So Folio's web design costs, they surveyed a bunch of the designers who do work for Folio and for their customers. And they surveyed them and said, how much do you charge? And then they created this great data. It not only did incredibly well for them in terms of serving their actual customers and the customers of their designers, but it also ranks like crazy. Right? It ranks for how much does a website cost, web design costs, all these kinds of things. It's in the top 3, top 5 for all that stuff. And the best part is that they're essentially taking real data from real designers. And so those designers, as soon as this survey came out, what do you think they did? Shared it, tweeted it, linked to it, looked at it, commented on it, blogged about it, creating an even bigger amplification, which is why I love letting your community be your data source. Works phenomenally well. People make excuses for this stuff. They'll say, well, I can't be transparent because our data isn't that interesting. And we can never share that kind of stuff. It's too private, it's too personal, right? It's too close to the business. And the reality is, you're not that creative. The reality is not that your data isn't interesting. I can find an angle for anything. A great marketer can. And it's not the case that you can't share, unless there's literally something legally binding. The case is that you believe in your fear more than you believe in the power of transparent marketing. And I think that era is ending. I think it's over.
Hi. Okay, so this is the promo for my new HBO special. So, you know, you're gonna hear like dramatic music. Bum, 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 bum. You'll see my name come up for just a second at first. You'll hear the HBO guy going, "Coming soon on HBO." And you'll hear the sound like a jet engine, like, and then you'll see me like in a suit I would never wear. And then I have like a solid gold microphone. Why? And the camera's spinning around me and I spin the microphone and the guy says,
"A stand-up comedy event like no one has ever seen."
and my name comes up in big letters like, boom, like that. And then I'm walking in slow motion towards the stage and light bulbs are going boom, 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 boom. And then you hear the guy say something like, "The greatest comedy of the generation of blah, blah, ever to do a thing on a thing."
The greatest comedy of the generation of blah, blah, ever to do a thing on a thing.
And then the guy says my name for the first time. He says,
Louis C.K.
and then I come out and there's a just crazy, enormous crowd. Louis C.K.
Louis C.K.
HBO. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
But really, it's just going to be me standing here telling jokes. So whoever shows up, it's not a big deal.
Louis C.K. Oh my God. Premiere Saturday, April 13th at 10 p.m.
I appreciate Louis introing us to my next one. Authentic. Ingredient 2. I love this quote. You'll see me in like a suit I would never wear. I've been trying to explain authenticity, and this video just does a perfect job of it. I'll show you some authentic marketing too. So this is Maptia. They're a startup out of Seattle Techstars who, because their runway was getting close, they actually moved to Morocco to an apartment there so that they could finish building it, and I think they're gonna be done in September. And Maptia does this great thing where they make their mission a shared journey by giving out their manifesto. And check this out. People take that manifesto, even though this startup hasn't even launched their product. They take that manifesto and they photograph it all over the world and then they share it back with Maptia. It's really quite incredible. And people who see this are amazed and blown away by it, but so are the people who are taking the pictures. It's really a beautiful thing. You can let other people participate directly in that mission. This is ModMen. It comes via Shutterstock. So Shutterstock, of course, is a digital arts and creative images, stock images, a lot of them, company. And they did this great promotion. So they just kind of mixed it up, right? They took symbols of the characters from the Mad Men TV show and mashed them up to be modern, right? 1963, 2013. 1963, 2013. That's my favorite one. It's so brilliant. The cigarette with the lipstick and the yoga mat. It's so true. And look at those numbers, right? This is from Open Site Explorer. Like, it just went crazy. They got a huge page authority, tons of people linking to them, nearly 1,000 Facebook likes, at least when I screenshotted it. It probably has more now. 600 Facebook shares. This is awesome for a stock images company, right? Sharing just the kind of stuff where you go, well, that's kind of boring. I don't know. What's really going on there? And the key is that they're leveraging their strengths, right? What they're known for. They're not trying to go outside of their world, but they're saying, hey, this is cool creative imagery that we can do. And they create an honest and credible connection, which so few people do whenever they try and do pop culture content. I see a lot of, oh, here's Ryan Gosling memes about, you know, our data product. And it's terrible. It hurts me. I'm not sure there's anything more authentic than the way Lego does advertising. It's just beautiful. Like, I see this image. When I saw it for the first time, it was on the web. It was while browsing around on an advertising site. And I saw this image, and all I could think of was when I was a little kid, and I was between the ages of maybe 4 and about 10. And our dining room table, we had like a formal dining room table, right, that we'd eat dinner at, and you had to fold the napkins just right. Like the fork had to go on the left, knife has to go on the right. My dad was very insistent about this. But we'd clear it off after dinner sometimes, and my mom and I would build like Lego space stations, Lego dinosaurs, mostly space stations, I'm not gonna lie. I was like super into space. Everything was just like, oh, and now I wanna build a Venus planet one. And I see these and I'm like, yeah, look at those 3 little blocks. And it's a dinosaur, and those 2 blocks, and that's a plane, and it just resonates. It fills me up with nostalgia and with memory, and it makes me wanna go buy Legos for my little cousins and for our friends who have kids. They know what's at the core of their audience's love, right? And they make that authentic advertising double as content. If you're gonna go through the trouble to spend hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars on advertising, you might as well get some links and social shares out of that stuff, man. Seriously. Make it something that people are actually willing to spread organically. If it's not that, why are you paying money to put it on television and to put it in magazines and to advertise it on the web? Why? I hear your excuses, right? Well, we have a very professional work environment, right? And we don't get into this sort of, you know, who we truly are stuff. And the reality is that era is over too. If you're not being authentic and you're not letting your team be authentic, then you're not letting your customers feel authenticity either. And I think this is gonna bode badly for your emotional well-being. I think it's gonna bode badly for your team. And I think you're gonna lose to people who are authentic. Third ingredient is generosity. Minted does this great thing. Minted's a greeting cards company out of San Francisco, and they do this awesome thing where they will let you go and print free customized like photo greeting cards and send them to your friends. You can send up to 3 of them. You connect with Facebook. This is, by the way, a beautiful use of Facebook Connect. I know a lot of people talk about Spotify. This is another excellent example of that. You connect to Facebook, and then they'll actually prioritize. They'll say, oh, you should send a card to so-and-so because it's their wedding anniversary, because it's their birthday, because they know once the Facebook Connect has happened. It's brilliant, right? And what they're doing is essentially saying, we know that our product delights people who receive it. We know that people who receive it are likely to amplify and want to share it. And so we're going to give some of it away in this fashion. And also, by the way, they're getting something in return or too, right? They're getting that Facebook connection, which is fantastic for retention and remarketing and all that kind of stuff. Macklemore is one of my new favorite artists. Of course, he is from Seattle like I am, and he's a big proponent of the city itself, and also of thrift shopping and gay marriage, both of which I also love. Actually, thrift shopping, not so much. But Geraldine, my wife, loves thrift shopping, so. What's brilliant about this is Macklemore posted to his Facebook page, right, which is immensely followed, and says, if you can't afford our album, pirate that shit. Look, and share it. Oh my God, this is incredible, right? And then he says, can't afford a t-shirt, try the Seattle area Goodwills, the Value Villages, we just donated a bunch of them. They went to Goodwills and to thrift stores, and they gave away their merchandise so that people who couldn't afford it could go get it. This is not just a, we're giving away our merchandise. This is incredible amounts of promotion. It's just brilliant, right? And because of that, well, because they shared it on social, the amplification factor is enormous. If you're going to do things like this, if you're going to do stuff that's generous, make sure you're using social to share. A lot of people do giveaways and this kind of thing and don't put it on the web for some reason. This is Patagonia's supplier map. So Patagonia, very, very authentic company, makes outdoor gear, right? And behind the scenes, they're being super generous, and then they're sharing it out. There's this, in my world, there's a strong karma, right? And Patagonia does a great job of leveraging that by showing where their suppliers are, who they are, what they do, the fact that they're green and organic and don't employ child labor and all that kind of stuff. But it's not overly self-promotional, which I see a lot of that stuff being. This is very, you go, you check it out. We just provided a cool data visualization of how our supply chain works. So we had a conference in Seattle, MozCon recently, and Uber reached out and emailed our team and said, hey, we would like to offer you discounts on all the rides for all your attendees. And so we got to share that, which was just super, super cool of them and really smart because they know that's a bunch of tech-savvy people who are going to go back to the cities that they're in and want to get Uber into those cities. And of course, that's exactly what Uber is looking for. This is a really simple tactic that I can't believe more people don't use. So this is Easy Paris, and they tweeted at, I'm going to use Geraldine again, but at her just saying, hey, we really liked your post. We think other people should check it out. And because of that, Geraldine, who is notoriously suspicious of marketers, my God, literally it took me like 6 months to convince her to date me. And another 5 years before I could propose. But Rachel, she's going to be promoting, recognizing that brand. They've earned her attention by being generous to her, by sharing other stuff. And what did this cost them? Nothing. It was just someone who was reading her blog and thought it was cool. So there's excuses like, oh, our budget can't support this, and we don't know if this is going to produce results. But I just showed you a bunch of examples that money is not the only thing you can be generous with. And by the way, generosity is this great marketing strategy because it does exactly what we should do, which is prioritize long-term returns over short-term acquisition. The people who remember you, know you, like you, trust you, have seen you, promote you, amplify you, that generosity gives back for months and years to come. We're going to watch a fun video.
Ship my pants? Right here? Ship my pants, you're kidding.
You can ship your pants right here.
You hear that? I can ship my pants for free.
Wow, I just may ship my pants.
Yeah, ship your pants. Billy, you can ship your pants too.
I can't wait to ship my pants, Dad.
I just shipped my pants, and it's very convenient.
Very convenient.
I just shipped my drawers.
I just shipped my nightie.
I just shipped my bed.
If you can't find what you're looking for in store, we'll find it at Kmart.com right now and ship it to you for free.
I'll show you some more fun marketing. I'll talk about the Kmart video in a sec. So Beta Brand, which is a startup company out of San Francisco, has these amazing pieces of clothing. But they knew that, the apparel world is incredibly hard to break into, just massively challenging. And so they went with, hey, we're not going to compete with normal clothes. We're going to feature reversible disco hoodies, black vajamas, and black executive pinstripe hoodies. Which, by the way, I need to get one, but they're all sold out, and they've been sold out forever. And this, I know, right? They call their whole section of pants Sons of Britches. But the brilliant part is that they took their product, and because it was so fun and interesting and potentially viral, Mark Zuckerberg wore one of the executive hoodies. They had no idea he had bought one. They had no idea he was wearing one. He wore one of the executive pinstripe hoodies to I don't remember, some meeting with investors in New York, and of course was photographed in it, and this turned into tons of attention for Beta Brand, right? And the brilliant thing that they do is they don't just think about SEO in their titles. SEO is important in your titles. A title tag is an important place where you need to put your keywords. But they mash it up, right? They're putting together that with some fun stuff. And that right positioning at the right time earned them great press. This is Bernie's Illustrated Guide to Criminal Law, which I highly recommend you read. It's super fun. Nathaniel Burney takes a stab at sort of popular impressions of what certain laws are and how they work, which you would think, okay, legal explanations, that's about the most boring content you can find, but he makes it so much fun. You want to read these comics. It is delightful to read them, and it's delightful at parties to pull them up and show your friends how wrong they are about their impressions of what entrapment actually is, right? That boring content can become viral if the format is right. And if you can find this intersection, this wonderful, beautiful, amazing intersection of your personal passion and your professional commitments, you can do amazing stuff like this. There's excuses like, well, this doesn't really fit with our brand, and humor's really hard, and we're not comedians, right? And the truth is, think about that Kmart video for a second. So it was produced, it was shown to the Kmart executives, and they said, absolutely not, we are not airing this. No way. And then it started leaking its way around the Kmart organization, and it ended up on YouTube. And once it got 500,000 views, then the executive said, okay, let's air the ad. So I'm just asking you to think about, what would you say if it worked? Would you still say, no way, we won't let this out? And I know that humor is hard. It is very challenging. But I'm not asking you to be a comedian. I'm saying, try fun mediums. Try an environment of fun. Delivering joy is not nearly as hard as being funny. That stuff is fun too. I miss Roger. So I'm gonna start with an example that's lacking empathy. This is slid.es. Not exactly sure how to pronounce it. New startup. I figured I'd check it out because I make a lot of slide decks, as you can tell. All right, this looks cool. Let's go dive in. Sample decks. Those are kind of interesting, but none of them have images. I wonder if they support like putting images in here. Okay, there's no way apparently to figure out whether they support it without registering, and I'm not going to go in and register and then try and build a deck. I'm out of here. I'm done. Finished. Let's try one that gets it right. Gets it right. Look at this. This is hello sign, right? You can sign documents electronically with confidence. Oh, okay. Printing, scanning, faxing, emailing documents. That's a total pain in the butt. I hope they can help me out. Does it work with Google hosted apps email? Because that's what our organization uses. And can I use it on mobile? Because a lot of times I'm on mobile when I need to sign something. And how much does it cost? Will other organizations have to pay that? And there's all the answers. And okay, well, how does the pricing compare to DocuSign, which is what we're using right now? Oh, hey, look, they've got that too. That's very empathetic of them. What about security? What if we go public someday and we need, oh, look, audit trail, yeah, this sounds like it could work. If only there was someone out there who could read minds and tell us what everyone's thinking about our brand and our website. Don't you wish there was someone like that? Oh my gosh, there's someone like that. Look, this is what people search for. It's exactly what I just talked about, right? I want a review. I wonder if it works with mobile. I want to know about the pricing versus DocuSign. It's all right there. We use keyword research for SEO to know what to target, but we can use it to design our content to know what people want from us too. And this is critical in offsite marketing as well, right? So here's Serious Eats, and they've got this great no-knead pizza recipe, which is awesome. I made it once, and it was fantastic, right? You put it in there, and then you get it. All you have to do is just leave it for a while, and you can bake it. It's awesome. And what he did that was genius is he didn't submit this to Reddit. He created an Imgur gallery, right? Because Imgur is basically what people on Reddit are willing to upvote. They don't want to go to any websites. They're very picky about this kind of stuff, right? So he respected that bias, presented in a familiar format, and he gave and gave, right? He gave away the whole recipe, all of that, before he asked for something in return, which was just a little PS at the end that said, hey, if you like this, come check out Serious Eats. And my understanding is this literally got hundreds of thousands of views, right? The Imgur page is showing like in the millions now, but I think that might be from some weird impression stuff. And there's the Reddit thread, right, which had 3,500 upvotes, was front page for a whole day, for a pizza recipe. Can you imagine someone being like, oh, let's go to our pizza recipe on the top of Reddit? You'd be like, that's impossible. Can't be done. Can be done. This is MailChimp's email benchmarks. Super empathetic, because this is something every email marketer desperately needs. How did I do against the industry? I don't know whether my open rate and click-through rate was good or bad until I look and I see, wow, this is fantastic. This is a great service that they provide by aggregating that data. This content doesn't sell anything for MailChimp. It's just there to help. And because they help us, they earn our empathy, our respect in return. And the last one I'll show you is Swiss Hotels Worldwide Etiquette. Genius part here is that they have all these different guides, little visual guides for countries you might be going to, and how much is tipping, what should be expected at restaurants and in cabs, and all this other kind of stuff. And so the agency behind this, which is SEO Gadget out of the UK, this resulted in more links to Swiss Hotel's website than any other page on the website has ever seen, excluding their homepage. Totally remarkable. I mean, Swiss Hotel's a pretty big brand in Europe. It's kind of incredible. My favorite example. So this is the dinner with Barack, and they tested a bunch of images to get the highest return, right? To get people to click through and to pay for to participate in this contest. This is the photo that won. Can you tell why it won? Look at her eyes. Look at her eyes. It's like she can't believe she's sitting at dinner with the president. That is exactly the feeling you're trying to create, they're trying to create. And that is the feeling I feel so much when I look at this photo. It's empathetic, right? It gets to the heart of the matter. Those visuals, those photos are such powerful communication tools. And this resulted in plus 19% conversion rate. It was like an extra $10 to $15 million of fundraising, which hilariously, Kyle was on stage. He's like, which isn't a ton, but every million counts. You're like, oh my God, what are you dealing with? And there's an excuse, right? Oh, this is too complex, it's too expensive, too off roadmap for us to do this kind of stuff. The thing is, when it comes to marketing, inbound marketing, the harder it is, the more impossible it is for your competitors to catch up. So Steve Jobs, who I'm actually not a huge fan of, I don't really like Apple products, I think I'm not in love with them, but Steve was willing to be the exception. So when they launched the iPod, the initial iPod, right, they needed some way of promoting it virally. And there were no social networks at the time, right? This is like 2001. And so the idea was, hey, you know what we're going to do? We are going to make the earbuds white. Because the device itself is in your pocket or in your bag. No one's going to see it. We need something visual that people will see to know cool people are wearing iPods. And so they spent a fortune reverse engineering the manufacturing chain because no one made white earbuds at the time, and the first two versions got dirty really easily, and so they wouldn't stay white for very long. And they delayed the launch, I don't remember exactly how long, but delayed the launch of the iPod just to get white earbuds so that they could be the exception and stand out from the crowd. Fast Company proved that you can do this with long-form content. So lots of people are believing in sort of the Huffington Post and BuzzStream model of short, pithy content, tons of it, content, as opposed to let's take a long time and go very, very deep on a topic, long-form research, and look, that investment paid off massively for them. Massively. In fact, they were more successful than nearly all the other tech outlets at the time. If you observe what other people are doing and choose to invest in the opposite, I see great things. This is Queensland's best job in the world in Australia. Thank you. And the brilliant part about this is most tourism boards spend tons of money on brand advertising, which is kind of junky, right? Like you see tons of ads for like, come to Connecticut, come to Missouri, come to Montana. Great, fine. They took $100,000 and made a simple competition for the best job in the world, which was to basically be someone who snorkeled all day and took photos for them and updated their blog and their social media account. And this kid won, it was awesome, $100,000. So they basically said, we'll pay you $100,000 to essentially be a brand advocate for us. Not only did they get someone to win a contest, they also made the winner into an evangelist for them. And now, oh, that was slick. You see that naming convention? Because they called it the best job in the world, they start coming up whenever you type in best jobs in the world, all that stuff, right? Like they're getting tons and tons of attention from that. Genius, just genius. And Moz is kind of an example of this too. We are very much the exception to the rule, right? So one of the weird things we do, like there's no one at Moz who's a salesperson, right? Most SaaS companies have like salespeople and they'll talk to you and sell you the product and tell you about it. We don't have any. That's very weird, right? Like there's no one who will sell you Moz. We do other stuff like big enterprises come to us. A big Fortune 500 came the other day and they were like, we're paying $5,000 a month and we want to do this and this and this. And we're like, we don't really support that. We want to serve SMBs at $99 a month, I'm sorry. And they think you're crazy, right? Which is fine. We don't try to convert visitors early either. It turns out that with Moz's funnel, at least what we've observed, and you might see this in your marketing too when you look at multi-touch, is that people on average come 7 times before they take a free trial. And if they take longer, so if they come back like 10 or 12 times before they take a free trial, they actually stay longer. They have a higher ROI, like they stick with us for more time than if they convert after 1 or 2 visits. And so we actually don't want to sell. I'm sort of like, no, read the blog. Just keep reading the blog, check out Whiteboard Friday, and check out the free resources, and then eventually we'll get there. We only spend about 15% of our marketing budget on paid marketing. The rest is all inbound, and you can probably see that, right, if you check out our blog and our resources and our social accounts and that kind of stuff. And we do this crazy thing where I constantly get up in front of people and promote our competitors. We do it on our site. I talk about Raven Tools and Majestic SEO and Ontolo and all these things all the time, which people would tell you, don't do that. But as a result, we've seen some really nice growth. Now, it could be, right, that you're saying, well, we can't justify doing something our competitors aren't doing. And, we operate on data-driven marketing here, so we can't be making these, like, exceptional investments. Mimicking the competition will ensure that you always trail them. Always. And those optimizing for local maxima, they get surpassed by people who innovate. Somehow we forget these rules, but they've been true for forever. Maybe in the future, marketing will succeed without all of these attributes, these secret ingredients. But I don't think it can succeed with none of them. Thank you very much.